If you're thinking about buying your first home in New Zealand or starting your investment property portfolio, then today's video is for you. House prices are better, lending restrictions are easing, and now is a great chance for you to finally own your own place or start your property portfolio. In this video, I'll explain all the reasons why now is a great time to buy a property in New Zealand. As always, feel free to skip around the timestamps to save time. Let's get into it. The first reason is that property prices are still down. As of August, September 2024, property prices have generally been declining across New Zealand. It is particularly evident in cities like Auckland, Wellington, and Hamilton. Despite this downturn, there are some regions such as Canterbury that have seen some price increases. Buying now at the bottom of the market, there is much less risk to you that your property price is going to decrease or your property value is going to decrease in the future. It is expected now that interest rates are starting to fall that we may see property prices start to take a turn and head back up. Buying now means that you're not only getting a good deal, but you're entering the market at the right time. And what I mean by this is that you're going to be getting those capital gains in the future. Over the long term, property prices will increase. Usually it's around 5 to 6% per year in New Zealand. It's a good time to get onto the property ladder now so that you can get some of those capital gains in the future and increase your wealth. The second reason why now is a good time to buy a property is that interest rates are starting to track downwards. Over the last few weeks particularly, we've seen interest rate drops across all of the major banks. We've also seen some of the banks start to decrease their test rates from around 9% to 8.5 to 8% as well. What this means for you is that you could effectively borrow more money than you could have before when you were being stress tested at 9%. This means that you can now buy at a higher purchase price. But the question is, should you? It's still and will forever be a good idea to only borrow the amount that you can comfortably actually afford. It's a good idea when you sit down with your mortgage advisor to get an idea of what your repayments could be so that you know this ahead of time. Lower interest rates do mean lower repayments, which makes it a little bit more affordable for you to buy a house. As I always recommend, it's a good idea to sit down and work out your budget or set your intentional spending plan so that you know what you can actually realistically afford. Make sure that you do this before you make any commitments. The next reason why now is a great time to buy a property is that we're actually in a buyer's market. What this means is that there are deals to be had and there's room to negotiate. Buyers essentially have all the power and have the upper hand. Homes are generally taking a little bit longer to sell at the moment, which means that the seller may be more willing to negotiate on the price that they're willing to accept. This is especially true if the seller has plans themselves, such as they wanting to move on to another property or they're looking to move overseas. Sometimes the sellers want to move quickly with their plans, and with properties taking longer to sell, this does put the power back into the buyer's hands. The next reason to buy now is that there's currently not as much competition in the market. There are still lots of people who could be potential buyers that are still sitting on the fence. Some investors are starting to come back into the market and make some moves, and I expect that this will pick up a little bit more as interest rates decline a little bit further. At the moment, demand is still low, and this can work in your favor if you're looking to buy a property and get a good deal. The next reason is that there are a lot of stock options available, so you're able to hopefully tick a lot more of the boxes that you want to tick when you're buying a property. If you're not finding anything suitable straight away, you can be sure that something suitable will come along soon. It won't take long to find something in the current market. With increased supply or lots of properties for sale and low demand, it does mean that prices are lower at the moment. This works well for buyers who are keen to get a really good deal. With more stock options, it does also remove some of that pressure on buyers to make a fast decision and sign a sale and purchase agreement really quickly. Buyers can take their time before making an offer and purchasing a property. There's also more time to complete due diligence, so buyers don't feel pressured or pushed into making bad decisions and suffering from buyer's remorse. It is okay to take your time before spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on an asset that you're going to be paying for potentially the next 20 to 30 years. The next reason to buy now is that DTIs are there and in place, but aren't really having an effect yet. Now this will change once rates drop further in the future. I have a whole video all about DTIs which you may find useful, and I'll link that up over here and down in the description box if you'd like to check that out for some more information. The next reason is that CCCFA regulations have been rolled back. From the 31st of July, overly prescriptive affordability regulations are no longer a part of the CCCFA. What this means is that it enables Kiwis to access finance with greater ease and confidence. In place of the prescriptive requirements, the Responsible Lending Code has now been updated. It now provides guidance for lenders on how to make responsible inquiries as to the affordability of a loan. The updated Responsible Lending Code manages the risk of unaffordable lending while providing lenders with flexibility to assess affordability on a case-by-case basis, taking into consideration individual circumstances. It is in no one's best interest to loan money to anybody who can't afford to pay it back. However, now there is flexibility and freedom to Kiwis who are just looking to get ahead and want the government to get out of their way. And I think this is a really positive change. So, getting onto the property ladder in 2024 is a great idea if the numbers stack up for you. You also have to be ready to take that step, whether that's buying your first home or buying your first investment property. As always, make sure that you do your due diligence and speak to a mortgage advisor for advice before you do anything. It is always a good idea to get advice so that you know where you stand and you can make informed decisions. If you aren't quite ready now, that's okay too. Sit down with your advisor and make a plan for your goals so that you know exactly what you need to do to get there. If you need an advisor, feel free to get in touch. My contact details are down below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure you share it with someone who may find it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.